It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. Thank you. There we go. I was trying to see who knew that. I love being in my 30s because I don't gotta sit and be cool no more. When something's dope, I can be like, yo, that was tight. In your 20s, you too cool, like, nah, because he gonna think he all that, and, I mean, y'all tight. East Bay, what's good? So my son turned 6 this month. I've reached that parenting stage where I can tell other people's kids what to do. Being a parent for 5+ years, you'd be like, hey, sit down. Like, who is that man, mama? So for his birthday, my parents decided they want to get this boy a Nintendo Wii. And I was against it. Number one reason, because I'd have to be the one to hook it up. So I kept on finding reasons to put it off. My mom is very persistent. She was like, look, come get this boy's video game. I'm like, all right. So I get it, and then I'm like feeling all negative about it, and I hook it up, and I'm just realizing all the pain I have around hooking this video game up and allowing my son to play it. Then I thought about, remember the sleepovers for all the 80s babies who grew up in the 90s? Remember the sleepovers where you'd play the Sega Genesis, and if you lost, you had to pass the stick, and if you didn't do that well, your homeboys would talk about you. Like, come on, man, you ain't had the stick for that long. After a while, I just stopped playing video games. I didn't like that feeling I got from doing that. And I'm realizing that's where all my pain was coming from. I didn't want him to play the game and feel the disappointment of being laughed at and everything. I cut this game on. It's all working perfectly. I'm realizing now that God really made the whole thing go really smoothly. I was making it difficult. The boy turned the game on and was having the ball. No matter how much he kept losing the race, no matter how much he was like not even on the racetrack, all just way over here, he was having the ball. Came in 100th place every time and just smiling and wanted to do it again. I'm the one like, no, get back on the road. And, oh, come on, man, what you do? He was like, look, dude, calm your old self down. I got this. When I heard that my topic was leave the thinking to God, I got lightweight agitated. We all from the town here. We know what lightweight means, right? All right. I got lightweight agitated, because that means surrendering. I don't really do that well sometimes. My mom likes to tease me, so if you hear somebody hype manning me through the whole thing, just know who that is. See, in the earlier service, I knew that 9 was probably a little too early for MCs to be waking up. So I asked the crowd how many MCs we have in the crowd, and not too many people raised their hand, but I know we have a few in here right now. So as MCs, I know we remember this one art that we practice called freestyling. For those that don't know, freestyling is to be able to rap without any premeditated information in your mind. You're pretty much letting the spirit catch you, and you start rhyming. When I first tried this, I thought the object was to pretty much try to think of like 8 bars ahead of time and try to rhyme it all at once. You can't do that. No, nobody can do that. The object is to fall into the beat. Let it consume your soul. Let God take over, and then you speak. Let God do the speaking. We came here already knowing everything we need to know. The object of the game, I'm realizing this thing called life is to not be distracted by all those other thoughts. Ryan, what's up, baby? All those other thoughts are what we're supposed to meditate and allow to filter out of our minds as we remember the one truth we came here knowing, which is I am one with God. I was tripping the other day how when I was playing laser tag a while ago at somebody's birthday party, the thing I kept doing was putting my back to the wall. I just was like, as long as I find some way to put my back to the wall, I'll be fine. Then I started thinking about this thing called Earth that we live on. Earth is a sphere. We don't have any walls to put our back on or in. We are totally vulnerable. Right now in this moment, there is nothing shielding us from anything, yet we've made it this far. The same force that we're supposed to surrender to has already carried us thus far. In my opinion, I feel we can put our trust in at this point. Being still and quiet regularly is important. It's imperative. That stillness, that quietness, and that darkness is the very stillness and darkness that we came from. That's the beginning. God speaks to us best in those situations, which is probably why for a long time I was afraid of the dark. This is my therapy right now. I don't care if y'all laugh at me. I'm realizing that that's why I had a nightlight all the way up until college. I didn't like the dark. I felt something talking to me. I didn't like it. Oftentimes I would hear what my assignment was, and that frightened me even more. You want me to do that? Oh, no, let me turn this TV on. Did I touch a nerve with that one? There is only one mind. And yes, all thoughts are God. But as we go through life, we begin to pick up thoughts that have a little bit of attachment to them that aren't the original thought. In order to weed out, in order to allow God to be our filter, we have to get still and weed out those thoughts that do not serve us. You came here feeling good, feeling proud about your life, loving your life. Somebody told you your job ain't good enough. Somebody told you it's time for some new shoes. Somebody said, that don't really fit you like it used to, and now you're walking around with that thought and letting it bother you when nothing in your life changed in the first place. Let God do your thinking. I remember a woman who is a high priest. I think she's a high priest. I don't remember correctly. I was talking to her briefly on the BART. And she was telling me about her life and her practice and everything. And I started talking about, being late to this and meetings. And she laughed and said, boy, I'm not on that clock. I go by God's time. And that really stuck with me. When it's time to move on to the next process, God is going to let you know because there's no way of getting out of it in the first place. Don't let somebody else tell you when it's time for you to move on. You are on God's time. What better calendar is there to be on? We have this idea that, now I'm this age, I'm supposed to be here. Who told you that? Did pop culture tell you that? That you're supposed to, come on now, y'all. Let God do your thinking. I always I know the kids always upstage me. I've had this practice where I always try to know in advance, like a good 2-3 months in advance, what my topic is. Then I try to already have it pre-written, and it never goes that way. I always end up the night before having all this information come at me and onto the paper. It's almost like that's the only way it works. Me thinking I have to have it done already. It doesn't work that way. Right there in that moment is when I am a vessel and I surrender to God and it pours out of me. These aren't even my words. Matter of fact, I don't want people no more telling me they enjoyed what I said. These aren't my words. God is my ghostwriter. I'm just delivering this to you. in that stillness and in that one moment, this moment is where all our power is. Many of us stay too far in the past. Many of us is thinking to the future too much. But right here in this moment is all that matters. You can't have God think for you when you here or here. In this moment, all that matters is now. There we go. Now, all of us have talents that we're blessed with. I'm realizing now that with that talent that God has given us, we are supposed to use that to inspire others. When we get that gift, it is our duty to use our talents to touch people's lives. You don't get to hold that and be like, I'm not tripping. What? If I could sing like that, I would have never rapped in my life. We are supposed to use these talents to influence each other. But in doing that, oftentimes we think it's supposed to be us doing it. No. Now, of course, I can give props for props are due. A talented person is a talented person. You are talented. But if you were to maybe surrender and take God on the stage with you before you even say a word, you might be a lot tighter. Just try it. See, there's tight, but then there's God tight. And nothing is better than God tight. When I got to Skyline, I saw how all the Skyline brothers had the waves, right? But they didn't just have them on the top like me. They had the 360 waves, the beehive, where you're just looking like, dude, I am seasick. Look at that. Just, woo! I tried so long to doing that. So much grease in my head, you know what I mean? They start coming through my pores, forehead all greasy. Look like I've been frying chicken all day. I had to realize, oh, wait a minute. Everybody's hair is different. In order to get the 360 waves, you have to find your hair pattern. Now, in life, everything has a formula. Everything has a pattern. Between you and God, you have a pattern that you must follow to get the results you want. In order for me to get waves, I have to find what my pattern is. And it's weird, too. My hair goes all this way. But, hey, God made me how I am. We have to follow the pattern that God has given us. Leave the thinking to God. Yes. Too Short said plenty of things I probably shouldn't say in church. Before we laugh at all that, he also talked about don't fight the feeling. He said that. That came out of his mouth. That time when we feeling happy, that time when we want to clap and be overjoyed, but we decide, nah, let me just sit here and be cool. Go ahead and do that, man, but you're missing out, I'm telling you. Honestly, you can't really let all of God's joy in your heart until you stop trying to be cool. You seen those people who are just happy for no, them people ain't cool, but they happy though. Every now and then I allow myself to be that happy, but I usually leave town to do it, I'm still holding on just a little bit. You seen Brother Luchan? He was happy, right? He won the lottery or something? There is a pattern between you and the divine. In order to find that pattern, we must get quiet and get still. Quit trying to figure it out on your own. Leave the thinking to God. God has got it. This is where God gets scientific. All my life in this practice, people have told me, oh, well, you mixing God and science, and that don't really go. Listen, God has been scientific. Matter of fact, that's the result that we are seeing. It's always been scientific. And just like in science, it always comes to math. In math, you always trying to find the lowest common denominator. In the beginning, there was God. That's the denominator right there. Our lives have been scientific. So when you start worrying about your bills, when you start worrying about the job you think you've been in for too long, when you start worrying about that education you never went back and got, remember that in the beginning, there was God. Just like fire and electricity, all these things have existed even before we did. We be thinking, oh, well, since we ain't discovered nothing. What? Out of here with that. It's been here. Now, we might have discovered it for ourselves, and now it works, but it has been here. Everything we need has always existed and will always be. So as soon as we stop trying to do it ourselves, it'll be God tight again. Now, if we really believe this practice, and I'm talking to myself here, I'm not even talking to y'all no more. If I really believe this practice, the first thing I got to do is eliminate what if from my vocabulary. I think I use that a little too much, y'all. What if? 35 years old and fine. Ain't nothing happened to me. God has carried me this far, and I'm still using what if. In the beginning, my grandmother, she has this way of handling things when I come to her with my problems. She's not like any other grandmother. I come to her with these problems, and I'm crying and slinging snot and kicking stuff all over, and Grandmama is horrible, and oh, my God. And she smiles through the whole tantrum, right? Then she laughs. Like she's laughing at me, y'all. I'm thinking she's going to do what all the American moms do on TV and bake me some cookies. She laughs. And I've tried to figure this out. I've come to all the children like, why did Grandmama laugh at me when I was crying? I'm realizing now that when you've been through enough, especially those testing times in your life, you know that it's all good. Because you survived it all. That's what dark humor is. Listen, if you can't laugh at it yet, you are not yet healed from it. Until you can laugh at it, you still got some healing to do. So she laughs at me. I'm realizing that God is kind of like that annoying booking agent, like the booking agent is like, oh, you're going to be a star, baby. But you got to put your faith in me. And that's God right there. Only God gets the job done. Like, listen, man, I tried to do it here, bro. Let's let God do the thinking. To everyone in here with a dream, to everyone in here who's working on something, a business, a relationship, anything, know this. Opportunity rarely comes at a convenient time. It's going to come at that time when you got to decide between your job and your dream. It's going to come at a time where you have to look and decide, do I want my life to stay how it is right now, or do I want to try to get something more plentiful? And it will never, ever come conveniently. Yes, dreams are expensive, but they are always affordable. I got this homegirl who she wants to be a comedian, and she is funny too. And that's one of the things I've always wanted to do. I'm like, to be able to stand up there and tell jokes, and that's amazing to me. I've never tried it because the scariest thought is if I tell jokes and nobody laughs, it's like, oh man, I'll fight Mike Tyson. I'll fight anybody. Don't make me do that though. If it's not funny, laugh anyway. All right? If you really love me and I tell a joke, just laugh anyway and be like, hey, bro, nah. So she goes to this event, and she's telling me it was kind of like an Oakland Apollo type thing. And I'm already like, you gonna give a bunch of East Oaklanders the opportunity to boo you? All right. And she laughed and was like, yeah, that's all that happened. I got booed. And she laughed, and I'm like, that's not funny to me. And she said, listen, we knew going into this that all of us were going to get booed. Every single person who was on this show was hilarious. But if someone comes into your life with the preconceived notion they want to boo you, it's nothing you can do about it. Haters don't exist. Understand what I'm telling you. Haters do not exist. If we believe that everything around us is God, if we believe that everything we see is an extension of us, then let's remember that thing we calling a hater is really somebody telling us, I see the God in you, I know you can do better, and I'm going to boo you till you show me better. Leave the thinking to God. Not only is life more enjoyable when we surrender, that's what our responsibility is to do. Look at a child. A child teaches us everything we need to know about life. They don't have any resistance. They don't want to be cool. They want to run. They want to scream. They want to enjoy life to the fullest. It's not until we start messing with them that they start getting baggage. So as much as it hurts me to see my son mess up on the game and not even stay on the road, he's telling me, chill out, old man, I got this. Leave the thinking to God. God gives us better thoughts anyway. As a trendsetter and a leader, what I'm realizing is surrendering to God is what's necessary anyway. Before you can bring something new to the people, you have to harness yourself in that very filter we're talking about. Prime example, Jay-Z. Look at what this man did for button-ups. Button-ups came at a time where everybody was wearing jerseys and wearing them backwards at that. Y'all laughing. Some of y'all did it. Don't front. I seen you. This man comes with a button-up, a classy look to hip-hop, and all of us was doing it. Some of the meanest killers in my hood had button-ups on. Like, what? But Jay-Z said, listen, it's going to be tight because I am aligned with God, and whatever God says is tight, it's tight. So we all had button-ups on. Whenever you come with a new idea, harness yourself in that first. Reverend Derricka said your dream is supposed to frighten you. Let it frighten you, but do it anyway. It's your responsibility. Somebody is watching you don't even know about. Somebody is inspired by you. They're looking at you. They want to be around you all the time, no matter what age they are. And they need to see that fall that you're about to take. They need to see that fall because they need to see you get back up. Then they need to see you continue and keep falling until you finally make it. They have to see that. My dad told me when he wanted to be a fireman, the first thing my nana told him was, you might die because you have asthma. He said, Mom, I'm not getting the job to die. That stuck with me. Our greatness serves as inspiration to others. All of us in this room are great. All of us outside this room are great. What thoughts are we holding on to that ain't even ours that are keeping us from that happening? Who told us we weren't great? Don't even matter. Don't even go there. Just know that right now it ain't true. Right now in this moment, you are God. That's it. I remember how Tupac would rhyme. I mean, the man's voice, he would say something like his voice was the only voice in the universe that mattered. I love that about that man. You don't gotta like me. I don't even care if you like me. But these words, you gotta respect these words because they came from God. When something comes from God, you can't deny it. We all know the truth when we hear it. We don't always like it. We don't always listen to it. We don't always agree with it. But when the truth hits us, we know it's the truth. Hey, bro, you're not as funny as you think you are, man. You might want to tighten that a little bit. Hey, that hurt my feeling, but it's the truth. Quit doing it yourself. Leave the thinking to God. In honor of Youth Sunday, I'd like to talk about my favorite Disney movie. Now, we all know Dumbo. We know the story of Dumbo. His ears was too big. The elephant. Come on, man. Goodness great. Has it been that long? Wow. How the elders got me feeling old? I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm listening to Mama Haley Jackson on my iPod. Dumbo had these big old ears that everybody in the circus liked to laugh at. They'd make him do all these weird stunts. They would ridicule this little elephant. And finally, his mama had enough. And we all know what a mama's love is like. She represented for her son. Tore the place apart. Y'all not going to disrespect my baby. And they locked his mama up for that. And we got to see how Dumbo was hurting without his mom. We got to see that scene where through the bars she was cradling her son who missed her so much. And we just sat there like, that is cold. Dumbo was going all through the movie trying to make friends but getting laughed at. Everywhere he went, somebody made fun of his ears. It got to the point to where he just wanted to hide and never come out of his hiding place. Only friend he had was that mouse. A mouse in cartoons is what elephants are supposed to be afraid of. But he had been through so much hurt and he needed a friend, he wasn't scared of this mouse right here. So they became partners. And through the whole thing, they were thick and going through all kind of stuff together. And finally, this mouse gives him a gift. All right, Dumbo, here goes a feather. This is a magic feather. And it can make you fly. But you got to believe it'll make you fly. And through the whole thing, he kept trying to fly and wasn't doing so well. And finally came that one scene. Now they got him way up higher. It's so dangerous that if he doesn't fly, he will die. And he doesn't want to go. Dumbo's fighting like, no, I don't want to jump off this thing. And they stick him with a pin and make him jump off anyway. And so him and the mouse are plummeting. We can hear the air. We can hear the crowd screaming. It's pandemonium. And the mouse is telling him, listen, forget that feather. You don't need that feather. You can fly. I'm telling you, you can fly. Listen, right now is the moment. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Right now in this moment is the only thing that matters. For me, Dumbo, fly. And Dumbo takes off into the air. He didn't just stop there. Oh, no. Dumbo didn't just stop there. He said, now it's time for me to really represent my mama, who y'all dog. And he tore that place apart. And the whole time I'm like, go ahead, Dumbo. Show him. Ladies and gentlemen, Dumbo, the greatest Disney movie of all time. Yeah, I said it. Bring that box up here.